Well, hello everyone. Welcome to another iWoman Report. I'm Cathleen Trigg-Jones, and I want to thank you all for joining me. How's everyone doing out there? I know we've been through a lot lately, and I can't wait to dive into the results of this historic 2020 presidential election, as well as the momentous victories of women and LGBTQ candidates across the country, the continued accusations of widespread voter fraud, Trump supporters organizing a rally in Washington, D.C., and the current administration's refusal to concede. Which brings me to my big question of the day. So we know the 2020 election season has finally drawn to a close with a historic win for the Biden-Kamala Harris campaign. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, I'm a little excited. But meanwhile, our current commander-in-chief is refusing to leave. Donald Trump is having a tough time accepting this loss, and he's even having a tougher time not picturing himself and life in the White House for another 4 years. Well, Trump has insisted that he will not concede, and he's retaliated with filing countless bogus lawsuits in key states. However, Trump did make some progress towards conceding last week. Take a look.
This administration will not be going to a lockdown. Hopefully the whatever happens in the future, who knows which administration it will be, I guess time will tell, but I can tell you this administration will not go to a lockdown.
All right, Donald Trump, this brings us to our question of the day. Do you think Donald Trump will concede? Please answer yes or no on our iWoman social media channels or take our poll right here on the screen. Is he going to get out on his own, or are we going to have to drag him out? I want to know what you think. All right, and here are some of the country's top post-election news. After an extended presidential race, former Vice President Joe Biden was named the winner of the 2020 election on November 7th. Well, Biden is going to return to the White House as the 46th president of the United States, along with Vice President-elect Kamala Harris. Harris is the first female vice president, the first black vice president, the first Asian American vice president, as well as the first Democratic vice president from the West Coast. There's a lot of firsts going on there. The groundbreaking election of Kamala Harris was not the only historic and monumental victory this year, though. Across the country, women and LGBTQ candidates have broken political barriers this election season. Let's meet some of the candidates who made history this year. All right, Cori Bush, one of my favorites, a community leader, Black Lives Matter activist, and nurse, won Missouri's first congressional district, and she's going to be the first black woman to represent Missouri in Congress. Well, Bush gave this rousing victory speech to her constituents on election night. Take a listen.
St. Louis, my city, my home, my community. We have been surviving and grinding, just scraping by for so long, and now this is our moment to finally start living. Let's finally start living. Let's finally start growing. Let's finally start thriving. So, as the first black woman and also the first nurse and single mother to have the honor to represent Missouri in the United States Congress. Let me say this to the black women, the black girls, the nurses, the essential workers, the single mothers. This is our moment.
What an empowering acceptance speech. You know, it's one of those things you don't know if you have never been there, but it just feels good to see someone like Cori Bush make history as the first black female congresswoman from Missouri. Congratulations. I'm expecting really big things from you. Delaware's Sarah McBride will be the first openly transgender state senator. That's my home state there. After making U.S. history, McBride took to Twitter in hopes that her win would show an LGBTQ kid that our democracy is big enough for them too. Well, two New York Democratic candidates, Richie Torres and Mauree Jones, will become the first black gay men to be elected to Congress, at least openly black gay men. Torres actually is Hispanic, and he's going to be representing the district in the Bronx, where he grew up back in 2013 when Torres ran for New York City Council and won. He became the youngest elected official in New York City, as well as the first openly LGBT elected official from the Bronx.
I take pride in becoming the first openly LGBTQ elected official from New York City. I often tell people, who would have thought the first openly LGBTQ elected official in New York City would come not from Chelsea or Hell's Kitchen, but from the South Bronx.
And it was Torres' 2013 win that inspired Mauree Jones, my boy, who I actually helped, one of my neighbors, run for his office this year in New York City as an openly gay black man. Well, Jones reacted to his victory on Twitter, writing, "Growing up, I never imagined that someone like me could run for Congress, let alone get elected."
The historic nature of this campaign is not lost on me. Growing up poor, black, and gay, I never imagined that somebody like me could run for Congress. And I want you to know that I will never stop fighting for you. That you have all fought alongside me, and that I will keep my promise to never stop fighting alongside you, because what we've got on the horizon are challenges unlike anything this country has ever faced.
27-year-old activist and community organizer Mauree Turner of Oklahoma also made history twice. Turner became the first Muslim state legislator and the first non-binary lawmaker in the United States. Remarkably, these are just some of the historic candidates and victories this year. Thousands of Trump supporters gathered in Washington, D.C.'s Freedom Plaza to protest President Trump's loss to Biden. The Million MAGA March, as they called it, attracted protesters from across the country. An estimated few thousand marchers were in attendance. However, this is a far cry from the millions of protesters reported by the White House and Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany. Demonstrators wielded signs and flags that read, "Stop the Steal," to further amplify the allegations made by Trump over voter fraud. Trump himself made a brief appearance at the march in his motorcade as he traveled to his golf course in Sterling, Virginia. He's been spending a lot of time at that golf course, by the way. Well, Trump could not resist giving the crowd a thumbs up from inside of his vehicle. Nostalgia alert for all of my Fresh Prince of Bel-Air fans out there. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reunion brought together the fun-loving cast of the Fresh Prince after 30 years. Definitely one of my favorite shows growing up. Well, the special was filmed on the recreated set of the show and honored the late patriarch of the Banks family, James Avery. The reunion special aired on HBO Max and even welcomed Janet Hubert, who played Aunt Viv for the first 3 seasons of The Fresh Prince. Didn't you always wonder what happened to her? Well, Smith and Hubert sat down for the first time in 27 years to hash out the details of their longtime feud. Take a look.
You guys didn't know. Very abusive marriage.
You know, I have children.
Yeah.
I've been divorced and I have a second marriage, and I can see now the level of pain and the level of struggle that it was for you just to show up every day. And then...
But you took all that away from me.
Mm-hmm.
With your words. You know, words can kill.
Mm-hmm.
But I lost everything. Reputation, everything. And I understand you were able to move forward, but you know those words, calling a black woman difficult in Hollywood is the kiss of death.
Well, according to Janet Hubert, her salary after the 3rd season was cut, and as a result, she chose to reject the show's offer. This led producers to recast the role rather than renegotiate, and this opened the door for my girl Daphne Maxwell Reid to play the new Aunt Viv. I always wondered what happened there. I really don't blame Janet Hubert. You know, we've been sacrificing our salaries for many years, and you should absolutely stand up for what you believe. That doesn't mean it will always work out for you, but I'm really glad that Janet and Will Smith had a chance to sit down. All right, and finally, my thought of the day. You know, it's difficult to imagine celebrating the holidays amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. Celebrating this year is definitely going to be different since we're unable to surround ourselves with friends and family. due to unknown risk. All around, 2020 has been a one-of-a-kind year, and it's important now more than ever for us to celebrate. However, this year's celebration will look a lot different than last year's and years in the past. For me and my family, we plan to continue as many safe holiday traditions as possible. This holiday season, it's the little things that will make life feel a little bit more normal. Whether it's watching a marathon of holiday movies or decorating your home or cooking your favorite dish, it's important that we stay safe, stay healthy, and stay happy. Until the next time, I'm Cathleen Trigg-Jones. I want to thank all of you for joining us and watching this iWoman Report. Until the next time, happy holidays, everyone.